Hello, everyone. We just ended an 8.5 hour stream of reading through the patch notes and reacting to it. It was a long journey of reading through. Wait, just kidding. This is what actually happened.
There's a total of one meaningful skill balance change in this entire patch for 3.2.
Yeah, his little 90-second video here really sums up all you need to know unless you want the absolute nitty-gritty about every little change. At the end of the day, this is the smallest patch notes that we've ever had. You might notice that this looks a little bit differently than you might have seen some other people's, is because I removed all of the Ruthless changes from this patch. If you are a Ruthless lover, I have nothing against you, but just so you know, I don't play Ruthless myself. I will not be reviewing the Ruthless changes. Honestly, it's it feels a little weird seeing Ruthless get so many changes and the core game getting so few. So what I have done is I've removed all of the Ruthless changes and we've really pared it down. And this will not be a super long video. Hopefully, the goal is to just be very quick. I am going to link the VOD of me reacting to it on Twitch below. If you want to watch the whole thing, I'll link it to the timestamp where I started looking at it. I don't think there's a lot that I really need to say. The big thing, as Jungron said, is the most important thing is the skill balance changes. Temporal change being nerfed to 40%, from 40% to 25% slower. That means instead of 40% longer duration on your poisons, it's only 25%. So this is a noticeable nerf for any damage over time stacking effect. This also would technically nerf like an Emberwake based Ignite build as well. So it's not just poison, but definitely like directly targeting poison specifically. Or if you're in the situation where you're looking to keep a lot of debuffs on the enemy, something like that, if you want longer curses or whatever, that'll be a little bit unfortunate for you as well. This skeleton change is effectively nothing. This dual wielding change with whirling blades is effectively nothing. Rewording of ruthless support doesn't really matter. Combustion now being int and strength, really, really weird. I don't know why they're doing this whatsoever, but okay, I guess you need a little bit of strength if you're going to use a combustion. But since it's a hybrid, it'll have a lower strength requirement, so whatever. I don't know what the implications here. Hidden Blade now not having a cooldown. So the interesting thing here is instead of having an internal cooldown, so it'll trigger every 0.5 seconds. I don't know if you can change that 0.5 seconds trigger. I assume that you can't. But now by not having a cooldown, I assume that you could just dual wield it. So you get twice as many Hidden Blades. I think that that's kind of what's going on. I'm not a Hidden Blade master, but that's my initial assumption from reading this. If you love Hidden Blade, maybe you can dual wield it and do something with that. And then they added the Orb tag to the Cremation skill gem. The Orb tag is generally regarded as a nerf because there are a lot of support gems that don't work with orb skills. And very specifically, I think they're targeting something like Sacrifice here that you get flat damage and it says cannot supports orb skills. So I think that that's the main thing that they're targeting here. But I believe there's other support gems that also don't work with orb skills. And that is it for skill balance changes. That is it. There's a couple other little changes here that, nerfs to some items. That'll feel bad if you need a couple things. Totem Explodey is dead in standard. It's a standard only build right now anyway. It's totally dead. 20x less damage. Losing the Delve mod here, kind of sad. Couple nerfs here. That is it there. Notable change here in monster balance is stun immunity removed from bosses in Path of Exile. So cool things with stunning the bosses and all of that. I think that's pretty cool. Fewer influenced items. Tainted currency. The reason why they made this change is they added a keystone on the Atlas. And I'll mention Keystone on the Atlas, but, until we totally work through that, that'll be a whole thing that we do a little bit later. They're making it so you can have Endless Beyond, basically, like Old Beyond, so it doesn't terminate. You don't spawn a boss. They want to keep the supply lower, right? Monsters that can't be damaged or targeted no longer regen. That's really good. There's if a monster goes into a phasing mode and Maven puts on like a Vitality, something like that. That's actually really nice. Kitava Skeletons are magic, sure. And Temp Chains is also nerfed for monsters, so that's good for us. Ancestor League, nothing to say about it. We don't see the content there. We have new support gems. I'm not going to review every support gem. There's some really cool stuff here. Until we see the gems, I'll do a full gem review later, so get subscribed for that. But until we see the actual gem numbers, all we can do is some rough theorizing right now. Like Guardian's Blessing looks really cool. I'm thinking about putting golems into my Fire Trap build and using Guardian's Blessing. Could be kind of cool instead of using Divine Blessing. Corrupting Cry looks fun. Volatility looks really, really good for bleed because you don't care as much about minimum attack damage. Having more maximum attack damage, really, really good for bleed. Same reason why you use Rithlafas, etc. Right? I think there's 14 more. There's more uniques. Until we see the actual gems with the numbers on it, it's all just, making stuff up in our heads right now. Forbidden Sanctum changes. It's coming in. It sounds like it's going to be much harder, but I'm really excited about it. Atlas changes. There are a ton of Atlas changes right here. Ton of Atlas changes. Primarily, they're adding a lot of keystones that, similarly as we've seen in the teasers, will allow slower / weaker builds to engage with content how they like. Early on, you can do Legion, stuff like that without, Expedition a lot easier. So I think that's just good stuff for the player base as a whole. Legion changes. Legion 5-ways got nuked from orbit. It no longer is easy to make it monster level 84. So maybe it's still okay for 5-ways, but Chayula breaches might be competitive now, or probably just better. That might be the meta for XP carries after that. So that's in the tank. And then obviously because of that, Legion jewels are going to be much more expensive. So don't plan on having a cheap Legion jewel anytime soon. Delirium. This is just like a rebalance. And then Tormented Spirits. These sound really interesting. Big Tormented Spirit rebalance, like rework actually, where they don't take damage right away. And then, they will more aggressively, better AI, stuff like that. Is this good enough to make it worth investing into? I don't know, but probably makes them good enough to at least use the Scarabs. Like right now, we don't even put the Scarabs in because we're just off-screening them anyway. They don't get a chance to do anything. But with this, at least, you're going to get a lot more quant on your map if you just toss them in the Scarabs. And I think that's, it's something. We'll see if it's worth doing. And then Ascendancy rebalance. Guardian, I've heard good things from both Snap OW, he's part of MP's group, as well as for, doing mana Guardian type of stuff like that. I'm not a master of any Guardian related stuff, but Snap said it's going to be looking really good for group play. And Gazzy said, depending on other numbers that we see from support gems and stuff, Guardian might actually be really interesting for minion plays. Might be something there for Guardian. But the old ways that you played Guardian might be kind of bad. Definitely lost some things like the PDR and stuff like that. And then Chieftain is the new worst ascendancy in the game. That is just the way that it is. This Ramiko's Sun's Light is the worst node ever created in the history of Path of Exile. I'm sure people will create some fun meme ideas with it, I guess. But I think it looks pretty bad to me. So yeah, a couple nodes here that you might steal. Tesalio and Velacos, as well as I think some people might take Namahus as well. Like really good, like Berserker might do something with strength stacking Namahus. There's a couple nodes here that are really good Forbidden Flame and Flesh duels, right? You can steal it on a Berserker and a Juggernaut, but by and large, Chieftain looks really, really bad. If we go to Pewee Ninja here, we can see that Chieftain is 0.9%. The percent might go up a little bit with people experimenting, but I don't think it's going much higher. Might fall down to these couple unascended shadow guys down here. So yeah, Chieftain looks like absolute hot trash. I'm sure people will come up with ideas, but right now, nothing looks good to me. Ascendant looks like a soft nerf because, she lost some of the stuff that they had on the nodes here. Cultist, actually a tiny little buff. Tiny little buff because they had to rework a bug. And so now Frigid Wake is a little bit more consistent on freezing monsters. Some light passive tree stuff, nothing huge here. Like again, the skill balance, whatever. And that's it. That is it. By removing Ruthless, this is the smallest patch change that we've ever seen. What that means is if you like the game, if you're new to the game, especially if you're a newer player, or you like the way the game is, the base game is good. And I think the base game is probably getting better. Again, Jungron said something really good here. Day 1 to 2 is going to be boring. League starters are going to be exactly the same. Nothing's going to change. Like, Poison Concoction, a little bit of a nerf that you'll probably not even really notice. And every other league starter is exactly the same, untouched. And then day 3 onward is going to be better. Like, I think there's some cool stuff. 14 new support gems, 15 plus new uniques, Sanctum with all of its uniques back and all of the tattoos. This can only be a good thing. It's just not an exciting meta shift. And that's it. I don't think there's anything else more to say. So yeah, thanks for watching. My league starter is still looking really, really good. Obviously, like it didn't get touched. There's a couple more tweaks that I made, in fact, that make it look even better. And if that new blessing support, this Guardian's Blessing works well, spoilers, what I did is I'm adding in golems so we get even more life regen and physical damage reduction. So it's going to be even tankier. It's going to feel even better. I'm trying to address the concerns of people that, a lot of people love the build, but, not everyone did. And I want to address those concerns and, make it, I can't totally change the build, but make it as playable and nice for as many people as possible. I'm addressing criticism and concerns and trying to get it there. And yeah, it feels even better than ever. It feels pretty incredible. That's it. I'm going to go get ready to go to bed soon and wake up early and start working on that build guide. Thanks for watching. I think this is no bad news is decent news. Not exciting. You didn't get a Nintendo 64, but, maybe you got a new Game Boy game, and I think that's okay. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Peace.